The magic in this combination of women on this podcast is that Kirstie and I are professional chefs. We've been in so many professional kitchens, and we approach things from a professional manner. And Amy, you're not, and I say that with so much love, right? Like
Oh, I'm not.
the chef of burning pots, or some of the stories that you have shared with us, that we will share with you, are just so entertaining and bring us back to, I get why someone would have a challenge here, but let's help you fix it. Let's help make it better. And seeing it from two different perspectives, and all coming together with great stories and laughs.
Welcome to Chef Over Your Shoulder, our podcast about the connections we make through cooking. Pairing professional chefs Jody and Kirstie from the Culinary Studio with me, a burn to the bottom of the pan expert, creates the perfect recipe to demystify the kitchen and bring back the joy of cooking without the pressure. Welcome to the first episode of Chef Over Your Shoulder. Hi, Kirstie. Hi, Jody.
Hi, Amy.
Hello.
We are so excited to bring you this unique perspective on cooking. And it all started from a conversation we had about cooking and about podcasting. And I started talking about some of my challenges in the kitchen. And I love how one conversation can kind of spark an idea that turns into this.
I'm thrilled. Like I'm super excited for this podcast, super excited to chat food. We were teaching a class yesterday. I don't know, Kirstie, I could have talked about rinsing rice for a good 20, 30 minutes. I can talk about potatoes for an hour, but we're not going to be that long. We won't keep you on a podcast that long.
I know, and I'm so excited to learn some things because I don't know a whole lot about in the kitchen. But before we get started, let's do some introductions. I'm Amy. I'm a podcast host and producer, and I'm also a burn to the bottom of the pan expert.
I'm Kirstie. I've been a chef for longer than I care to think, a career that I didn't think I'd get into, but inevitably, if you love it, you can't help it.
I'm Jody. I am also a chef. I have been in the kitchen for a good long time. I love the science of cooking. I love the hows and the whys. So I always want to get down to the bottom of why someone makes something a certain way.
Well, I'm excited to learn all the whys because, again, I don't know a whole lot and I've had a lot of challenges, but that's the best part. This isn't a podcast about becoming a gourmet chef. It's about bringing back the joy of cooking and reminding all of us why food matters in the first place because it connects us. So today we're going to talk about pots and pans and knives, but before we get there, Jody and Kirstie, I want to know a little bit more about how you think cooking connects people and how that's such a big part of your passion for cooking.
You know, I'll start, Amy, because the whole theme of today's show, pots and pans and that sort of thing, literally reminded me. I brought out a pot yesterday. Here, I'll show you here. It's like my grandma gave me this pot, about how food connects us. And we were connected by chicken noodle soup, right? And so she, for a birthday gift, I think it was the late 90s, I was probably 17 or 8, and she gave me this pot and filled it with like noodles, and I don't think she put a raw chicken in there, but basically, here you go. Here's my recipe for chicken noodle soup. Here's your pot. Now I get a little emotional just thinking about it, right? And everyone's had this little cough in our house this week. I'm like, hey, we're going to make chicken noodle soup. So I'm connecting, obviously my kids to, what my grandma gave to me. And this was the gift that it was just so special to me. And she knew it, right? Like, not just any grandkid was getting this pot. Like, I was getting it because I like to cook. And I think she just knew in her heart that I would continue on these traditions, these family traditions. And if I throw it up on Instagram, I've got a cousin in Calgary that's like, woo-hoo, like they know. So yeah, that's what it's all about. Cooking is connecting.
Oh, that's just so sweet. I love the pot. And you know what? Really, I have to say, there's really not a better way to describe connection in the kitchen than grandma and chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, that's exactly what being in the kitchen is about. Those chicken noodle soup recipes. Every episode, we are going to share cozy stories, nostalgic family recipes. Kirstie will probably tear up anytime she talks about those recipes that she's got.
I cry a lot about food.
We've got lots of kitchen hacks for you and recommendations on the equipment that we use and that we love. And there's always, there's these stories of like, my grandma made it and this is the right way to make it. And there's usually a story behind why she did it a specific way, and it's not what you think.
I agree. My grandma was in the kitchen all the time, and Kirstie, I don't think I was the one that she was passing everything down. I don't have a pot. I don't have the recipes, but she had the recipe box, and I just always had fun with her. So I did get to have the memories. I don't necessarily have the nostalgia in my kitchen right now. But we also on this podcast, in addition to all of those things, which I'm looking forward to hearing and talking about, we're going to have a lot of laughs because we're going to tell a lot of stories, and we want to have a lot of fun. And a lot of those stories are going to come from my cooking fails, which is where our laughter started, which is really why we want to share this with everybody, because we really want every conversation to feel like a visit with friends. It's comforting, it's funny, and it's going to be surprisingly helpful, I think.
Yes, and the magic in this combination of women on this podcast is that Kirstie and I are professional chefs. We've been in so many professional kitchens, and we approach things from a professional manner. And Amy, you're not, and I say that with so much love, right? Like,
Oh, I'm not.
the chef of burning pots, or some of the stories that you have shared with us, that we will share with you, are just so entertaining and bring us back to giving that, I get it. I get why someone would have a challenge here, but let's help you fix it. Let's help make it better. And seeing it from two different perspectives, and all coming together with great stories and laughs.
So let's get started with our first episode. So we're not going to do any food today. We thought, well, I didn't do any thinking, but both of you suggested that we should start at the beginning with the pots and the pans and some knives. So that's what we're talking about today. And you know what? It's perfect because I've already mentioned that I pretty much burn whatever I cook to the bottom of the pan.
This is so fascinating, Amy. Like how? Like, sorry, we'll deep dive, but
No, how is a valid question. So I have to tell you that, and the reason why this came up between the three of us is that you were a guest on my other podcast, Voices of Leadership. And every time you talked about a recipe or something you were doing in the kitchen, the only way I could relate was, oh, I've burned that to the bottom of the pan. And so that's how this really got started. And so why do I burn it? I don't really know. I will tell you that I've tried everything. I mean, I've tried turning the heat down. I've tried watching everything carefully, but really, even in university, Campbell's tomato soup, that was my specialty to burn to the bottom of the pan. Rice, risotto, eggs, and always pasta. And I have to say that my husband, Stephen, is a saint because he always cleans up my mess because I get frustrated and then I'm out and he's left soaking whatever pot for 24 hours and then cleaning it. So when I was saying we were doing this episode, I didn't even have to ask. He listed all the things that I burn because he's well familiar with all of the things that I burn.
I love this. And this is my message to Stephen. Don't soak for 24 hours. Sprinkle that burnt pot with salt, and then
Oh,
put water in it and let that simmer. And that will pull up all those burnt bits from the bottom and make it easier to scrub. So there you go. If you've got a burnt pot, don't worry about it. That salt trick, we do it in professional kitchens, and generally because we are so busy multitasking and doing all of these things. And the reality is we do that in professional kitchens, but you do that in life as well. And I feel, Amy, that's the reason, right? Your university days, I can't touch on those.
well, I
But
still make Campbell's soup because and this is maybe some homework, but chicken noodle soup is not, I have never made it from scratch. It's very intimidating. And I have to say that I was even more intimidated the other day. I was at a friend's house and her daughter wasn't feeling well. And she was on my daughter, one of Emma's sports teams. And she had our whole team over and her daughter was not feeling well. And as she's hosting us and talking to us and getting to know us, she's also making homemade chicken noodle soup. And I'm like, I could never do this.
it really is easy. It's a process. It's a process. You put the chicken in, leave it alone for 5 hours, take it out, put it like cook your noodles. We'll teach you. We'll teach you.
I think we should have a chicken noodle soup episode, right?
Yes.
We can do the two different versions. Kirstie's got her version. I have mine. I think it all comes down to that nostalgia again, right? Like mine is my mom's version, which probably came from her mom, and Kirstie's is directly from her grandma. You know, part of the deliciousness of any recipe comes from the nostalgic memories that you enjoyed as a child.
I agree. Okay, so tip 1, salt and simmer
A burnt pot.
a burnt pot.
But let's not burn. Let's try
Let's
not to
not
burn them.
burn, but inevitably if it happens,
Yeah.
salt and simmer. Okay, so I like
Yeah.
that.
You know, it could also be your pots,
Okay.
right? You know, a thin bottom pot on a high heat. And when you said you burnt pasta, I was like, you know, did she put water in there?
Oh my God. It's like,
Valid
Just-
question.
I love ye of little faith. You're like, is she putting water in the cooker?
Water? No, my grandmother was Italian. I do know how to do that piece, but the thing is that it's in there, and I put a bunch in, and I do stir it, and then I don't know. Inevitably, one layer just ends up sticking. But it might be the pot. So, talk to me a little bit about that.
It might be the pot. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, Jody and I have very similar kitchen setups, actually, right? We shop together, we work together, we cook together, and you know we've got a few tried and true things that we've liked over the years, right? Like a stainless steel pan is very intimidating to a lot of people, but when used properly, and we can get into this, you know, it can really give you nonstick results and keep things from burning. You know, we do have the Rolls Royce, I guess, of cookware, and that's like the cast enamel, the Le Creuset pot. Again, I think burning sometimes just comes down to heat control. Jody, you touched on it before. Like it does come, you know, we're multitasking, right? We don't have the time to focus on, and before you know it, you're at that you know, bleep moment, and you're across the room, and things are getting burned. So I think even, you know, above and beyond, it comes down to heat control. And then I know we'll talk about it, and that's like the cast iron, which is cheap and cheerful, and when used properly, it's your best friend.
Yes. Okay. So I do want to talk about cast iron because my dear mother-in-law, she always is trying to elevate my cooking ability and brings me lots of things. And often I put them in the basement because I don't know what to do with them. And one of them is a cast iron cast iron pan, because I feel like it would do lots of great things. And I've read a little bit about it, but then there's the whole, you season it, I think, and maybe you don't even wash it with soap. I don't really know. I know nothing about it, so that's why it's in my basement. How can I bring it up from the basement and maybe use it?
Well, Jody, you want to take this one? I've got my one I stole from my mom and my brother. It's just so fantastic.
You know, at your parents' house, when you're like, I want to inherit this, Kirstie, instead of putting her name on painter's tape on the bottom of the pan, it would have burnt off, right? She just took it. She just like, I'll take it. I got it.
I love that.
So when, you know, are instructions on how to season those pans, but the easiest way is to heat them up in the oven thing before they used to, and do it on a day like this when all your windows are open and it's well ventilated, because you're going to have to oil it as well. And sometimes they say just heat up a good amount of oil. And I don't know if you need to do that good amount of oil, or you heat the pan up, oil it, right, and then heat it up again, right? And so then that starts to stick onto the pan. And then when you need, every once in a while, when you need to clean it, or when you do need to clean it, again, that salt, that magic salt is going to come into play, and that's that abrasive and helps you clean it up. There are new age cast iron pans that you can put a little bit of soap in them, and they're fine. But it's just seasoning this after using it, and make sure it's dry really well, and then give it a coat of oil. That's what keeps it really seasoned and working for you.
And can I cook anything on it, or are there specific things that you cook on a cast iron pan?
I'm going to say your homework is to do a steak, Amy, right? Like
Oh,
it is
okay.
like I'll take a cast iron steak over a grilled steak, because you're
Okay.
getting like a sear on the entire, you know, crust, like a crust almost on the entire surface of a beautiful steak. I mean, you know, like the prices of meat these days, you want to enjoy
Exactly.
every bite, and then you can make a sauce right in. I think you, Jody, you've said, you know, we I think the rule of thumb is to stay away from acidic things in a cast iron pan, tomato and, you know, vinegar and that sort of thing, but wouldn't kill it. But other than that, yeah, you can do everything. I'm even there's actually instructions on the bottom of this pan. That's what I keep looking at. I didn't
Really?
even know that, Jody.
Oh,
That's so
really?
cool.
This whole time it's like engraved in the bottom.
How to use it. The other thing, you know, we always say a steak because the steak will get a good crust on it. In professional kitchens, they have like really thin cast iron. And so we are able to, you know, throw them around, and because a true cast iron is very heavy, and our wrists would be, you know, would be shot if we use true cast iron pan.
Right. Yes.
So when we get an order for a steak, we that comes in, it goes and sears in the cast iron pan, finishes in the oven, and then just gets a nice wipe out with a paper towel, and it's ready to go. But a steak is classic. Try pan roasted vegetables. So what it is, it's the cast iron pan heated up to medium, a smidgy above medium. That's what I say. I'm like, high heat is for boiling water. You don't need high heat all the time.
Ooh, tip number 2.
Or I guess burning water too, maybe. I don't know.
Back to your burn. Back to your burns, Amy.
I do cook on high as a default. I know that's incorrect. I don't know why. I just do because I don't know where on the spectrum to put it, I think.
And also we're busy, and we think if we go up from high heat. So what we always tell people is if you're starting at 0, you go up to high, it's too hot, you're starting to burn. Then you try to go down, you go down too low, it's starting to simmer and steam. And then you just keep dancing. Just commit, right? Just like you're committed to Steven, right? He's committed to cleaning your pans. You commit to that heat
Yes.
and just know what it
Yes.
is. And I'm going to say for the most part, medium high is where it's at. And then, so then with vegetables, just slice them, expose some of the inside of them, no oil, no nothing, just heat, put them in there, and they get the kiss from the cast iron, and they caramelize. But because there's no fat, they're not conducting heat. And so they stay really tender, crisp. So when you're getting a good amount of color on them, once you've got that, then you go in with, you know, with Diamond Crystal kosher salt or a sea salt and a good splash of oil. And then you've got delicious, crunchy, crispy, beautiful vegetables that have a nice char on them. And you're getting that in your cast iron pan.
Okay. Homework, steak and vegetables. I'm on it.
You know, I just want to elaborate on what Jody said about preheating, right? Like, how do you treat a cast iron pan? Almost any pan, really. Get it hot first, right? That's going to keep you from sticking and keep you from burning, Amy, right? If you get it hot first, and, you know, we always say, we tell people to preheat their oven. Nobody blinks an eye.
True.
Right?
Very true.
Or preheat your barbecue. Okay, sure, right? Preheat your pots and pans before adding oil, butter, water, your heat conductors. Those are your top 3 heat conductors. Jody, what do you want to say? I know what you want to say.
Key word before you add oil, right? You don't need to meet the fire department. They're great guys, right? Married to one, but we don't want them to come in. Oh, I just started my pan on fire. We did that. Kirstie and I did that.
Really? Tell me more.
Well, it was Florida, so there might have been a couple beverages involved, Amy. And we must have been preheating with a bit of oil for something.
No, we preheated a good long time when we went out to the pool. Do not do what we're telling you.
This is a hard no, guys, but a funny story.
Yes. We're in Florida over Thanksgiving. Kirstie and I were going to make Thanksgiving dinner, right? For everyone. They're all out at the pool. We preheat the pan. And then we go out for another beverage, I guess. I don't know. All these things you shouldn't do. And then Kirstie, carry on.
Yeah, and then we did add oil, but the pan was so thin. Getting back to, you know, a better quality pan is going to prevent this. The pan was so thin that it just burst into flames. We were like, holy bananas. Here you go. Hot tip, literally number 1, don't add water to it, right? We immediately found a lid and we snuffed it out. Or I was thinking another story true story. My dad took the seasoning, the cast iron pan, just a little too far. And he did heat it up with like too much oil, Jody. And he just like left it. And all of a sudden I see my dad like running from the kitchen to the back deck with a flaming pan. He just threw it on the lawn, I think.
Well, that's one way.
Just so you know, that pan in Florida, Steven couldn't even have saved. We just got rid of it. It was a thin pan, fire starter. We're like, let's just cut our losses, start again.
Cut our losses
Yeah.
and go for gas station fried chicken. That's what you do in Florida.
Sometimes that's okay too. Okay, so we've talked about pots and pans and how to use them, and we may not get to knives today, but that's okay. We can definitely do that in a different episode. I'd really like to talk a little bit about what's in our kitchen and what we need and maybe what we don't need.
You have to be of a certain vintage to have received a full set of pots and pans for a wedding gift.
I am part of that vintage, yes.
Yes, me too. Like I wanted to choose just like certain ones because I think I was a chef when I got married. I don't know. That's another story. But essentially, this pot and pan, this 11-piece set, you don't need it.
Oh, see, now this is exactly what I want to know, because what do we need in the kitchen if we're just, and I'm going to say family of 5 because the world's not built for 5 and we want to, give a shout out to those people with 5 and more. But if you're a family and you're a busy family, what do you need really to make your kitchen work?
Okay, I'm going to tell you the budget, and then Kirstie's going to tell you the pans that we need.
Perfect.
Is that okay, Kurt? Does that sound good,
Sure.
Kirstie?
Yep. I'm only a family of 4, though. Can I?
You get to
You can talk, yeah.
participate because you're just as
Yeah.
busy as everybody else. But,
We're 4, 5, 6.
yeah,
But you entertain, Kirst.
That's
You
right.
entertain a lot.
True.
Let me
Yeah.
be clear. Yes, not just family of 5, but if you entertain, are you using your kitchen on a daily basis? And you're right. We all have the 12 pots and half of them are in the basement because I don't think they really fit into the things that I'm making. It has less to do with my burning or my inabilities. They just don't fit into the things I'm making. So what do I need?
And also read the fine print on those 12-piece set, because half of those are lids. We don't need lids.
Ooh, we don't need
in professional
lids.
kitchens, we don't have lids. We put another pan on top if we needed to boil sooner. We generally don't need it. Like, we're not steaming a lot of things. And if we do, we're going to buy a bamboo steamer and teach you how to make bao buns.
Ooh,
could.
okay. Now
We could.
I'm making a
But
note
anyways,
of that.
that's another story. Use that same budget, whatever that budget is. We're like, oh, this is a reasonable 12-piece set for $500, $700, whatever it is. That's your budget to buy less pans, but buy better quality pans.
Okay.
That's a great tip, Jody, right? And what we always say is like, you need, probably 2 frying pans. You need your egg frying pan and you need your large, we don't use the word skillet in Canada as much in the US, but I guess, large frying. I'm like going like this, but my arms are out here.
Is it like 12 inches? Is that the large one?
12 to 14 inches. Yep. And again, it's like Jody said, you don't need a lid for that, like very rarely. So there's my 2 frying pans, one for eggs, one for larger things. My 2 pots, one is going to be I'm going to say a 6-quart.
6-quart is way off, girl. Like, that's like a giant pot.
I always called it the craft dinner pot.
We now know exactly what size that is. Yes.
Yes, you know the size now, right? And then sure, invest in like that heavy stew pot, right? And then if you really want that extra one, right, like grandma's stock pot, if that's your thing. I don't think that's not everybody, but your heavy stew pot, your craft dinner pot. For my wedding gift, Jody bought me the tiniest little pot because she knows I eat 2 soft-boiled eggs every day. Just had them about an hour ago. And so it's perfect for 2 soft-boiled eggs. And it's an all-clad pot. It was probably like almost $200 for this tiny little pot.
Okay, I was going to say, because I sounded like a really cheap friend. She just bought me this baby little pot for my wedding. It's a pot that she's going to pass on to her grandchildren.
Aww.
Still shiny, brand new. And my husband and I just talked about that. We think 16 years, maybe 17. We're not sure. But yes. And it still looks brand spanking new. So everything I've described is probably coming in around $1,000, and I'm never going to have to buy it again. My in-laws were literally just talking about it. How, they just buy these pans every year, from Costco. I'm like, okay, so it's only $60 a year. That's $60 a year. Like, buy them once.
Yes. So actually we need some new pots and pans just because I have burnt a few, and they're also old because I think we got them when we got married and they're part of the set. So we started doing some research, and I also want your recommendations, but what we found was where do you buy the ones that aren't part of the 12-piece set? Because when you do some research, the 12-piece set is really all that comes up. I don't know quite how to find individual pots.
All clad is really great. Like all clad is really great. They don't warp. That's the pan. That's the pot that I bought, Kirstie. Yeah, that's the one where it's like $200-300 a pan. But again, you're gonna have it for your lifetime, and whoever gets to put that sticker on or steals it when you're
Yes.
when you're
Right.
not looking, when you're
Sharpie, because then it won't burn off.
But the all clad pans, we're not sponsored. We should be.
We should be.
But we absolutely love them. I think they are available on,
Probably
online
online.
somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll take a look and put that out
Yeah.
there. But then you could also buy, and Kirstie's like, is that all you need? And someone's going to be like, no, I need way more pans. I need way more pans. You want those good quality pans. And then in a restaurant, they've got dozens of pans, but they've just got these like lighter weight. Are they aluminum, Kirst?
They're aluminum. Yep, aluminum.
Aluminum. They really brown nicely. I have some in my kitchen. They look ugly, but they are really great. In professional kitchens, they're tossed around and beat up. They're really inexpensive.
Okay, so those are aluminum. Okay, that's good to know. Perfect.
Yeah, but buy them at a kitchen supply store.
That's the key. Okay, so that's good to know. And there's lots of those around. I mean, we have one in town that I don't think I've ever gone to, but maybe there's a field trip.
Can we go with you? Yeah, I was
Yes.
going to say, can we go with you?
There you go. Field trip.
Yeah.
I just like the only thing I have that I love, and Jody, you know this, is my tortilla warmer, which is completely an individual thing.
A luxury, but sounds awesome.
But another great gift from Jody. So just to give you two kudos there for my equipment from Jody.
So Jody gives good gifts. This is what we're getting at.
Yes.
Going back to that one pot you talked about, chilies and stews and whatever.
Yes.
It's used for pasta as well, right? Like that's what you want. You want your Kraft dinner pot and your pasta pot.
Perfect. That's really good. It's amazing just two. And then when you cook like Thanksgiving or something, do you need more? What happens then?
Yeah, you do. But if you're like starting and investing, that's what you need.
Right. Like every day. Because I think that too, some people have said, oh, I need 2 ovens and I need this. And I think as a regular person, I like 3 or 4 times a year, I just figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely get into holidays and all those things, but every day you really don't need a lot. And I just gained a lot of kitchen space too, which I'm kind of excited about.
Get rid of those lids.
Lids. I know. I don't know where to put the lids. So this is pretty exciting. And so I can't wait to pass on my new lid knowledge or lack of lid knowledge.
Lack of need of a lid. Yeah.
Lack of need of a lid. Yes, it's very exciting. So we didn't really get to knives today, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's okay. We wanted to keep these episodes in the length that it took to make a weeknight dinner.
Absolutely. I mean, we could talk forever, and this is what we want to do, but we want to do them in bite-sized episodes, pun intended.
Love it.
So this is just a taste, again, pun intended, of what we want this podcast to be about. We want to demystify the kitchen, and we want to give everyone new recipes and share lots of stories and have lots of laughs, which I think we did today. So I'm pretty excited about all of the episodes going forward.
We are too.
Thanks, Amy. And some things you can always expect from us is a recipe idea, tips, recommendations, and also some homework for you, Amy, and anyone else to try. We're here to help you overcome some of your kitchen fails and turn those into kitchen wins.
We welcome your questions about anything cooking, and let us know what topics you'd like to hear us talk about. Some of the things that we've planned for upcoming episodes, talking about potlucks, right? Your story is amazing. You bring to a potluck. I was dreaming about it last night, right? Our chicken soup episode and sharing all these nostalgic stories. Happy cooking.
Thank you for joining us in the kitchen today. If you'd like to know more about what we talked about, including recipes, recommendations, and links to Jody and Kirstie's full selection of online classes, you can find everything in the show notes or visit the Culinary Studio website. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast and take a moment to leave us a review. Chef Over Your Shoulder is a member of the Bespoke Productions Hub podcast network. Happy cooking.